Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Netra. I am an MPhil scholar at Christ University, Bengaluru. Today on this Media Meet 2020, I am going to present a paper on the fake news on the COVID-19 issue, and the topic of my current study is Infodemic, a bigger problem than COVID-19, a study on government measures to lock the spread of misinformation in India. What is infodemic? Infodemic is an excessive amount of information about a problem which is sometimes incorrect and can have a negative effect on finding a solution. So in a country like India, we can easily imagine, which is a home to the second largest population, spreading of fake news, especially among the illiterates, is a worrisome, as they lack decision making or judgment of the news consumed or circulated before making a decisive choice to believe in them. The Indian government has taken measures to curb the fake news menace that has led to many killings and hate mongering in the past. PIB Fact Check and Karnataka State Police Department Fact Check team has set up a fact check online portal where anybody can post a picture or message they have received via social media to check if it is indeed true. In this study, the researchers aimed to analyze the fake news that were circulated during the COVID-19 period, which is from 22nd March 2020 to 2nd July 2020, with the help of the content analysis in order to understand the types of fake news being spread and how effectively it was taken down by the PIB fact check. News and fake news have existed with us ever since mankind. During ancient times, news was spread or told when a group of people met at a well. It slowly moved from a small people gathering to traditionally informing people about the happenings of the royal court and the laws that were passed by the Mount of Word. Along with the news existed fake news, or what were called gossips in the earlier days. There's a lot of examples of fake news throughout the history, and one such recent incident is that of the 2016 American election news, which is no longer an old news, but it is what led to the discussions over fake news to raise all over again across the world. Trump's win, which was said that the Russians were involved with this election result, attracted a lot of tension on the manipulation of news and how it impacted the 2016 general elections. The world of internet and the explosion of digital world changed the way we consume news today and entertainment. With over 700 million internet users, India has the second most internet users in the world after China. With the vast number of users in country with 1.3 billion people, it is not a surprise that it is also the most popular app for spreading fake news. BBC went on to call WhatsApp the black hole of the fake news during 2019 Indian elections. In a previous studies by the Banerjee and Hoke, where they studied about the fake news if it was real in India, to which they explored the vastity of dissemination of news that were being spread during the election period both in India and the US during the Donald Trump's win, and how people blindly rely upon the news rather than the fact-checking authenticity of the news or piece of information received. Social media channels such as Facebook, WhatsApp and Twitter play a major role in helping to spread this information about everything and anything. Raj analyzed whether spread of fake news around COVID-19 and the perspective of people on controlling the same in India. In this study, the researcher looked at why people tend to forward fake news without fact-checking and how the spread of fake news can be controlled on social media. It was found that Indians who are above 34 years of age tend to spread fake news the most. This can be due to lack of media literacy among Indians and the delayed technological advancements in India. It is interesting to know that one of those who are above 34 years of age think that it is lawful to share fake news, and they also think it is normal to create and share fake news during emergency situations like COVID-19. The main objectives of this research study are to understand the preparedness of the government entity to curb the spread of fake news around COVID-19 in India, to identify the main source of platforms that were used as a tool to spread fake news around COVID-19 in India, to analyze the government involvement and measures taken to reduce fake news and bring awareness about the factual information to the public around COVID-19 in India. methodology and data collection. In this study, the researcher has adopted content analysis, collecting fake news that was circulated on social media and other media outlets which were fact-checked by the Press Information Bureau, the PIB fact check and Karnataka Police Department fact check. On Twitter, published posts along with the fake news and gave the veracity of the factual information. A total of 100 tweets from the PIB fact check were collected as samples, and a total of 31 fake news reports were collected from the Karnataka Police fact check website between the period March 22 to July 2nd, 2020. These do not necessarily be tweets but also informations or news articles on prominent news websites and social media forwards on WhatsApp. These samples were categorized into financial aid, medical aid, COVID-19, health workers, migrant crisis, education, lockdown, community targets, and others. For this study, the researcher has adopted the gatekeeping theory. In this study, the researcher observed that the associations like PIB fact check and Karnataka State Police fact check have been keeping on telling the people what to believe and what not to. In this era of new media taking over all the world, over 500 million people use smartphones in India alone, with over 77% of them being active internet users. This data clearly shows that information dissemination can happen at a faster rate in India, where there are constant religious clashes and political clashes between the two prominent parties. Results: it was found that a total of 131 news articles, social media forwards and reports of false information were collected in a manner that were published as fake news by the Press Information Bureau on Twitter and Karnataka State Police Fact Check Department on their website. Press Information Bureau of India. The PIB is a nodal agency of the Government of India to disseminate information to the print and electronic media on the government policies, programs, initiatives and achievements. During the period of March 24, 2020 to 2nd July 2020, there were around 100 fake news or misinformation or misrepresentations or factual news that was spread across social media channels like WhatsApp, Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, to the extent that even some popular news channels ran the news on their breaking news scrolls. A total of 100 news sources or informations were collected from the PIB Twitter site that were published between the date 22nd March to 2nd July 2020 that were either COVID-19 related stories or stories that were indirectly related to COVID-19. This table shows the number of fake news and the categories associated. There were, out of 100, there were a total of 91 fake news stories that were related to COVID-19, 8 which was actually factually incorrect reporting or misleading of informations, and 1 information that was spread was actually true. With the above data, we can clearly see that 91% of the news or information that was circulated were reported as fake news. Out of 100 samples, 71 were circulated from social media channels like WhatsApp, Twitter and Facebook for topics related to financial aid, migrant crisis, lockdown, medical aid, vaccinations, medications, COVID-19, digital monitoring or snooping by Government of India and many others. However, some of the news channels were not spared, like this one, India TV News, a popular news channel, paid a news related to a circular issued by the Home Ministry about school reopening, which later was clarified by the Home Ministry itself that this news is fake and no such circulations were sent across by the ministry. In India, news channels record up to 43% of viewership in the Hindi-speaking states during the measured period of 2017. Karnataka State Police Fact Check has taken initiative to curb the spread of fake news that has become one of the main reasons for many misinformations and has created panic among the people of the state. 31 samples were collected from the Karnataka State Police Fact Check website that had direct or indirect impact on the COVID-19 news and information. Out of 31 news or information that was spread, 24 was spread from social media forwards on platforms such as WhatsApp, Twitter and among many others. 6 stories were related to community targets, while 3 were at the COVID-19 related. This table gives us a fair idea about the issues or the topics that were mostly circulated upon. This is a screen grab of a popular Kannada news channel reporting on many zones in Bengaluru to be sealed. This news was spread vastly across the social media channels, specifically on WhatsApp, leading to panic buying of groceries and other essentials in the cities. Fake news, as defined by the Cambridge Dictionary, false stories that appear to be news spread on the internet or using other media, usually created to influence political views or as a joke. In India, there have been many incidences that have occurred due to the spread of fake news on social media. One such incident is a statement that went viral. To the extent that even news channels such as CNN News 18, Republic TV and the News Laundry picked up this news and ran all over their segments, which is the 70 lakh Indian soldiers cannot defeat Azadi gang in Kashmir, which were claimed to have attributed to author Arundhati Roy. The media channels even went on to debate this on their prime time slots about a statement said in a non-existing environment in a non-existing interview. However, after an investigation by the News Laundry, the media organization apologized and published an op-ed about the same. These unverified, misleading information that was easily picked by the so-called media giants who could not escape from the bait of the fake news. It is highly unexpected that a normal citizen can do a fact check before forwarding such malicious, scam or misleading piece of information that could lead to major turn of events that can have a devastating impact. WhatsApp has its maximum users from India, over 340 million. The social media platforms like Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, Twitter, etc. are a source of spread of fake news or fake videos or images, causing or misleading information and even hatred among the public. Currently, there is no specific law governing the spread of fake news. However, a few sections that penalizes the spread of fake news in India are Section 124A, with under sedition, 153A, which is promoting enmity between different groups on grounds of religion, race, place of birth, residence, language, etc. Even when the world battles with one of its worst ever diseases that a mankind has ever come across, blocking billions of people in their houses, forcing millions of people to migrate to their native due to financial shutdown, loss of essential supplies such as food, grains and medicines, lack of information about dangerous situation that the world has exposed to, lack of mental health awareness that has captured the world, when survival has hit rock bottom. Ever since the Great Depression in the 1930s and the plague outbreak in the early 1900s, spread of false and malicious information intended to create panic has given a rise to multiple incidences across the world, both good and bad. With an average smartphone user of 500 million in a country like India, it is highly impossible to completely eradicate the spread of the fake news, even if the government puts in all its effort to do so. The lack of literacy, rather media literacy amongst the public, which is the main worry for many, as the intentions of such spread news is almost 90% connected to an incident that has occurred in the past, to make people believe in such fake news or malicious information that is sent across. In India, PIB Fact Check became more active in monitoring the social media channels such as WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook and Twitter to identify any news or piece of information that were factually incorrect. These were immediately put forth on the public domain, marking it as a fake news and giving the factual information about the same. When the world is consuming more of news and other information digitally, the more it is the responsibility of both the public and the government and other media organizations to verify the authenticity of the news received before believing in them and circulating the same among the peers. This one simple step of fact-checking before forwarding the information received will help in curbing fake news. The government should also make an effort to educate the public about these fake news and bring in a governing rule to ensure that those developing or creating fake news are severely punished for creating panic among the public. Thank you so much.